Hello, this is Frank Fortunato. Welcome to CATEX TV from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, July 13th, 2011. Reliable news for the reinsurance industry. We'll go to some American debt update news. The American meeting held at the White House every day at 3:45 p.m. is hours away yet. This is the daily meeting that President Obama conducts with Speaker Boehner and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid in order to try to solve the debt crisis. Yesterday, Senator McConnell, the Republican in the Senate, came out with an interesting plan that may hold the seeds for a resolution. Senator McConnell's plan, among other things, removes any requirement from the Republicans for deficit cutting or spending cuts, and makes the president responsible for setting the amount of money that he wishes to have the debt limit increased by. Is that something that the president was asking for back in April? Yes, it was. Senator McConnell is being vilified right now by the extreme right wing of his party. I must confess that yesterday afternoon, after Senator McConnell took to the Senate floor stridently stating that no deficit deal would be possible as long as President Obama was in office, I took to the internet and wrote Senator McConnell an email saying that it's precisely language like that that is keeping him as the minority leader. I might have spoken too soon. It might be a thoughtful way out. We'll see. In Afghanistan, a suicide bombing today killed 5 French soldiers, representing the country's largest one-day losses in the whole Afghan war. The attack took place in the Tagab district of Kapisa Province. France has already said that it will begin a phased withdrawal of its troops in Afghanistan. That area of Afghanistan has been particularly violent in recent weeks as NATO troops have been fighting insurgents coming across the border from Pakistan. More updates on what happened in Cyprus. In addition to the 18 or so people killed, one of them killed was the head of Cyprus's Navy. The Army head and the defense minister have already resigned, but the explosion that took place at the Validus power station looks like it's going to go right through the 600 million euro insurance policy and cause a substantial amount of losses with major European reinsurers. The plant is owned by the Electricity Authority of Cyprus, which according to documents bought a limit of 600 million euros per event, above a retention of just 800,000 euros. They've gone through that sky high, as this picture will show. A spokesman for the Cypriot Power Company said today that the plant would probably cost about 2 billion euros to rebuild. That implies a total loss. According to sources, a local carrier, Atlantic Insurance, won the tender for the policy, which began in February of this year. Atlantic's website states that they cede their reinsurance off to Swiss Re, SCOR, and Munich Re, as well as the French state reinsurer CCR. The loss is likely to be a very significant blow to Atlantic, and it looks as if it's going to hit into the London market. Validus provided about 40% of the island's power. Greece has agreed to ship generators to Cyprus to ease the energy crisis. No comment from Atlantic. Graham Chilton is back. The famous Chile, former CEO of Benfield Group, is going to become the chair of Aon Benfield FAC. Actually, Mr. Chilton hadn't gone anywhere. He'd been the vice chair of Aon, but he's stepping into the breach in order to try to smooth put some oil on the roiling waters at Aon FAC. This is after the departure of Aon FAC's head, Elliot Richardson, about 6 weeks ago. Chilton is currently the vice chairman of Aon. He's going to become the chairman of the Global Facultative Executive Group. Aon Benfield FAC is thought to place about $4 billion of client premiums into the FAC markets. It's got about 550 employees and 50 offices and may generate about $200 million a year in premium. Luca Venturini, head of the firm's Italian FAC operations, will become executive chairman of the UK EMEA region. Cigna has announced this morning that the Philadelphia-based insurer will move its corporate headquarters to Bloomfield, Connecticut. Cigna has been headquartered in Philadelphia for a long time. They're going to create 200 new jobs in Connecticut. They're going to get about a $50 million tax break and other incentives from the state of Connecticut. They also said that no jobs will be transferred from Philadelphia. And they said, this is improbable, that it does not expect the move of corporate headquarters to affect employment in Philadelphia. After Cigna moves to Connecticut, their total employment in the Nutmeg State will be about 4,000 people. Well, Transatlantic Re, sitting there patiently waiting for its deal with AWACS to close, finds itself in play. That's what happens when Ed Noonan gets involved. Noonan, of course, is famously the head of Validus. Validus has swooped in and made a cash and share offer that values Transatlantic at about $3.5 billion. For those who are keeping track, that's about $300 million more than the AWACS offer last month. Validus said that they're prepared to offer Transatlantic shareholders about $56 a share, 12% more than the Allied World bid. Validus told investors at Transatlantic that it had structured its deal to be tax-free for them, unlike, quote, the fully taxable proposed acquisition of Transatlantic by Allied World. In its merger presentation last month, Allied World made clear that it was targeting closure of the deal by Q4. Validus said that it would expect to close in the same time frame. Validus warned Transatlantic Re that it would be prepared to take its bid hostile. The letter noted that they sent a highly confident letter to Transatlantic Re with a proposal, and they noted that the terms of Transatlantic's agreements with Allied World do not permit it to terminate the agreement to be purchased by Allied World until a stockholder vote has been held. Noonan stated that he expects a response by July 19th. He also makes clear that this is not Validus' first approach to Transatlantic. He said, quote, as you know from our previous outreaches to you and past discussions, including our recent conversation on June 3rd and our June 7th letter, Validus has been interested in exploring a mutually beneficial business combination with Transatlantic for some time. Well, if I was a Transatlantic stockholder, I would view all that as pretty good news. Brazil's Grupo BB and the Spanish insurer and reinsurer MAPFRE will be lead insurers for a group of companies providing a range of coverage for the 11.2 huge gigawatt Belo Monte hydro project in the Amazon area. Munich Re and a group of 17 reinsurers will provide the reinsurance coverage. JLT Re was the broker in charge of placing the risk. The Brazilian federal reinsurer IRB took 22%. Belo Monte is going to be built on the Xingu River in the Pará state in the Amazon region. Well, this is something that we always find fascinating. You might recall last year when that horrible explosion occurred in San Bruno, California. That was when a Pacific Gas and Electric pipeline exploded, killed about 8 people, burned a number of houses to the ground, and caused unbelievable heartache and misery. Well, Pacific Gas and Electric said yesterday that they want to assure the victims of the San Bruno gas pipeline explosion that they, the company, did not intend to argue in court that the victims were to blame for losses that they suffered in the disaster. Yes, you heard me right. PS let me get their name, Pacific Gas and Electric amended a filing that it made last week in a case involving a number of lawsuits seeking damages from them as a result of the blast last September that killed 8 and destroyed 40 homes. The company said that they want to be crystal clear that no one at Pacific Gas and Electric would suggest that the residents of San Bruno are somehow at fault for the tragedy. Why is this coming up? Well, it's because the original filing in San Mateo Superior Court listed a whole slew of potential defenses to the lawsuit that PG&E wanted to make sure that the plaintiff's attorney were aware of. PG&E suggested that a third party may have damaged its, quote, state-of-the-art pipeline, and it asserted both comparative and contributory negligence as possible defenses. Those are legal standards that allow the defendant to claim that the victim's conduct contributed to their injuries and should be used to offset some of the damages. In the new filing yesterday, PG&E said they don't blame the plaintiffs and the residents who have been affected by this terrible accident. Well, the attorney for 40 residents who have sued the gas company pointed out that the company's amended filing still includes the original language that could hold victims responsible for damages. Quote, they still use the words comparative and contributory negligence in the new document, And then they say they don't intend to blame the victims. So when they say up, they mean down. Well, it's a little bit of a legal maneuvering game, but still, that is awfully bad publicity. And this is from a company that spent about $300,000 earlier this year in a public relations campaign in that particular area of California in order to improve their image after the deadly explosion. That's all the news we have for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. If not, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.